Hi everyone, my name's Rachael and I'm here today to talk to you about leadership. So, the first thing you can think of with leadership is you're probably going to go to some of the good leaders and some of the bad leaders you've had in your life. The good ones leaving you with a positive impact, and the bad ones leaving you with a negative impact where you probably didn't want to listen to anyone else again. But what's important to think about leaders is there's always a team backing them up. This could be a team of football players working for a common goal, a team of people working on a school project or a work project together, but they all have a common goal to accomplish something. And the way that you accomplish this goal is to have an effective team. So, what I'm here to talk to you today about 5 stages that go into creating the most effective team possible. So these stages are forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. I'm going to ask you those later, so be sure to remember them. And we're going to dive right in. So the first stage is forming. So you can kind of tell by the word it's forming, it's creating the team, kind of realizing is on the team, what are the members. You'll start considering a little bit of the personality types of the people on your team, but there's a high level of uncertainty. You don't know your role necessarily. You kind of don't know where you fit in. Do you belong on this team? What's expected of you? And you're going to have all those internal questions. You might have the extroverts starting to step up, take charge, and then the introverts are really going to sit back and analyze and kind of question themselves on how are we going to organize this? What are the rules? And just play a little bit back. So once you get that forming stage of the team, you're going to move on to the second stage, which is storming. So the storming stage is actually the most critical, but also the most difficult stage out of the 5. If all of the proper things aren't addressed in this stage, you're not going to be able to move on to the next one, and the team is never going to be able to accomplish that common goal. There's going to be a level of tension that arises in the team as different personalities start coming up and different goals are introduced. Um, the performance level can suffer if everything isn't addressed on this stage, but you're really going to see the personalities emerge. So, who's going to start taking charge? Who's going to give the team a direction? But can you all agree on a direction to go in? If you can't, you're going to continue this storming stage until you move on to the next one, which is norming. So, in the norming stage is when you have your strong leaders who are emerging. The introverts aren't really going to want to do the talking work if that's involved. And that's kind of interesting relating to our team on this Ned Talk. So, we had to go through the storming stage of who was going to give this presentation, what were we going to talk about. So, I had personally presented the idea of the shock factor of this presentation would be having an introvert at the end give the whole speech and then say, "Oh, I was an introvert and I could do this anyway." But it was actually really interesting how our team talked through it and we agreed that it was better to fit the roles that we're most comfortable in. So since I'm more of an extrovert, I'm giving this presentation. And the introverts wrote me this amazing outline behind the scenes. So we were able to accomplish this norming stage in a positive way. We all fit into our comfort zones, but we had a degree of unity and we had leaders emerge in the sense where I took charge with the speaking, other people took charge in other ways. And if we disagreed during this stage, we'd actually jump back to the storming stage, which was right before. So since our team was able to move on from norming, now we're on to performing. That's when all of the work you're working for that common goal that was established within the first couple stages. The introverts are going to work behind the scenes as we talked about, and the extroverts are really going to start taking that outside stance on the problem. There's going to be a lot of problem solving, and the common goal is going to be constantly reinforced in order to, move on to the next stage and accomplish everything. There should be a stable structure on the team at this point, but if there's not, that can bump you back to the stage before. And the main thing is just conscious cooperation. So everyone consciously knows their role on the team, what they want to accomplish, and what's going to happen next. So when you go into that performing stage, if you accomplish that successfully, you're going to move on to adjourning. The adjourning stage is kind of where I'm almost at right now, taking that deep breath, having that sense of pride and accomplishment because this project is over. You don't want to be intimidated by this stage. By the end, you want to realize you played your role, you accomplished what you wanted to. But you'll realize your role relates a lot to your MBTI type throughout this So if you wanted to be the introvert who did stuff behind the scenes, you wanted to, take that extrovert role, you're going to see whatever role you chose is arising during this adjourning stage. The team has something that they've accomplishment, and then they can document the results in all their efforts to be able to, give a product for whatever they were working for. The adjourning stage is kind of important, but it doesn't have any one specific personality type that's going to stand out in this stage over the others. And just remember that the best way to accomplish your team goal is to keep in mind the 5 stages, which are what? All right, so if you guys can keep in mind those 5 stages that you just said, forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning, then you should be set for the rest of your academic career here and then on to your professional career as you move on in life. Thank you.